So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.
What's up YouTube, Dad here from Z4 Games. We're here with Michael, and Michael is bringing us one guess Shaddolls. So it's a bit more of a hybrid build. We've tried to go as pure as possible, but I think he's trying to put into a little bit of extra text in there to make it as competitive as possible as well. So Construct finally came back to 3, took them long enough. So without further ado, I'm going to let Michael go straight through the profile.
Alright guys, so going straight into it. For Shaddoll lineup, we're playing 1 Falco, 2 Squamata, 2 Shaddoll Beast, 2 Dragon,
That's not hollow.
and 1 Hedgehog. The reason for one of the Hedgehog is for the Thunder matchup. I felt like this didn't come up as often, so I felt like 1 was better. And Falco, because we're going into less of the grind game lately, so I felt it was necessary. And I see a lot of people putting Dragon at 1. I really feel like this is necessary at 2. This back row removal keeps coming up for me, so that's that. So that's the main deck Shaddoll lineup. We'll start playing 2 Mathematician and 1 Armageddon Knight. Pretty self-explanatory, just to get your Shaddolls in the grave, fix your hands, maybe search out the missing pieces, things like that. It's also good to get like a free draw of Beast or get a free pop from Dragon, something like that. So playing those. Then the second engine that I'm playing alongside the Shaddolls, and this is mainly to play with Construct, is a Mech Knight engine, which is consisting of 3 Purple Nightfall and 2 Blue Sky, and then to round that off 1 Indigo Eclipse.
So what made you choose the Mech Knights over the Trick Clown, Damage Jugglers, all of that?
So the reason I decided to go with this engine is because, unlike the before mages, these actually do things in your hand. You can actually make plays with these. They've got a decent amount of attack points. You can use them to combo off, and there is a combo which I'll show you at the end, which is quite cool. And I just feel like they're much better. And I think the way to play Shaddolls right now is to make it a going second build, and these cards thrive on going second.
Definitely.
So that's why I decided to go with that. Next up, I'm maining 3 Nibiru. Trying to make this deck as competitive as possible. This is also a light monster for Construct, and I just feel with so many combo decks going off, you need a card to out them, and just make a comeback on the following turn. So I decided to play 3 of this. It's by no means necessary. I just want to make this build as competitive as possible. So playing 3 of those. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Pretty standard for the most part. Next up, I'm playing not 1, but 2 copies of Dark Arm Dragon. Just to finally celebrate the fact that this card is back at 2. And one of my favourite cards, I really wanted to play this in here. And yeah, with things like Squamata and so forth, it's quite easy to control the amount of Dark Sky in the grave. So, and Mathematician, Armageddon Knight, etc. So playing 2 of those. And round out the monsters is 1 BLS. And this is another way to control the amount of ducks in your grave. So that's that. So that's it for monsters. Moving on to spells. Of course, playing 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. Probably one of the better cards in the deck. Just being able to get a free fusion if your opponent's got the extra monster out. Great for setting up your construct and going from there. And to pair with that, 2 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. I know this card is at 3, but I decided to only play it at 2. Because a lot of the times it didn't come up to be able to cycle through your constructs, be able to go for game. And we are in Master Rule 4, so it didn't come up as often as other times. So I felt like 2 was just right. And then 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Again, this is a going second build, and this allows you to out a lot of things that your opponent might have on board, like problem cards, counter traps, whatnot, and floodgates. And the other great thing about this is if you're against the Orcus matchup, you can play this, target their counter trap, which you'll probably most of the time know where it is, and Dingyusa won't be able to protect it, so you pretty much draw it out, and that means you're free to sort of play with Shaddoll Fusion or things like that. So I decided to go for that. Next, 3 copies of Call by the Grave. I wasn't initially running this card in here, but since one of our main cards in the deck can be stopped by Ash Blossom, I felt like this was necessary. And it does come up other times, you know, being able to make sure that your Mathematician or Armageddon Knight get their effects through, so you're safe from hand traps, and also so You can control the amount of things in your opponent's grave and banish them. You can use this offensively as well as defensively, so I felt like it was necessary to put it in. Next up, 2 copies of Mind Control. Again, it is a going second deck, can't emphasize that enough. And this just allows so many great plays with this. You can steal their Floodgate monster, draw out the negate, or maybe just take it off, fuse with it, link with it, what have you. And it's just another way to out certain cards. And it pairs quite nicely with the Mech Knights as well. And then to round up the spells, it's good 2 copies of Super Polymerization. I was playing this at 3, but I decided to only keep it to 2, because the discard does hurt you quite a bit. For those of you who don't know, you won't get your Shaddoll effects off the discard since you discard for cost, and you don't get that with any of the Shaddolls if it's discarding for cost, so I didn't really want to go with that. And that's also why I went with the Cyclones over over something like Twin Twister in the main. So 2 of those. And then on to traps. 2 copies of Impermanence. Again, just another way to out an opponent's board. And then to round up the traps is 1 copy of World Legacy Secret. And this is quite a nice card actually. There's so many ways to abuse it in here. It's touchable, which I'll show you in a bit. And because it revives monsters, you can use it to pair with your Mech Knights. If you're sending them to grave for your fusions, you can then revive them back to the field and get its effect off, which is really good. And it doesn't just revive that, it revives any level 5 or higher monster. Which brings me onto the extra deck, where we're playing not 1, but 3 Construct at long last. So this is sort of your go-to fusion. Allows you to sort of toolbox the Shaddoll engine and just get so many effects going off, and sort of tear apart the opponent's board through things like Dragon, and draw into your combo pieces through things like Beast. So without a doubt, brilliant card, and great to finally have it off the list. Other fusion I'm playing is 2 copies of Winder. Great Floodgate monster. A lot of times you may find that you don't have access to lights. It does come up every now and then, so it's nice to be able to go into this and lock down the opponent. Great first turn play should that come up. And since we're playing Super Poly, 3 fusions I'm playing is 1 Draco.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful.
For the Thunder matchup, you use Titan and Colossus. Violet Chimera for the Salamangreat great matchup, and Solving Venom for the rest, basically. So I think these are pretty self-explanatory. You use the opponent's monsters, they lose the monsters, you get a huge fusion in return, and it just allows you to control the game state from there. So 3 of those. So that's it for the fusions. I was trying out a few of the other fusions, like Grista and Oyotilis, of course, but just due to space I decided to cut them. And a lot of times I found myself only going into Construct and Winder, but that was that. Going on to the Link monsters.
Oh, right.
I'm playing 1 copy of Alistair, the Invoker of Madness. I just found that this was a good generic Link 2 monster to go into. It's got a decent amount of attack. If you've got Mathematician, for example, or Armageddon Knight, and you pair it with a Mind Control, you can then go into this, you freeze up your zones, and just allows you to go off from there. And that way you're not limited to just the 1 monster. So, playing that. 1 copy of Morningstar, and this is one of the cards you need for the combo, so I'll go into that right after this video, or after this profile, and yeah, just great card. Its effect really does come up a lot of the times. There's that. And then sort of onto the more generic Link monsters. Got 1 copy of Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, and 1 Unicorn, just out cards, things like that. Then 1 Trisbania, and finally 1 Boral Sword. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the combo.
Chainlink 1 Chainlink 2 to negate.
So one of the great things about this is it works really nicely when you're going second, and you can pair this with any amount of cards, doesn't really matter, but the idea is that you can use a monster like Mathematician or Armageddon Knight, or a monster you've stolen with Mind Control. You bring it out, you special summon Blue Sky. It doesn't have to be Blue Sky, it can be Purple Nightfall, and then the point is you get to Blue Sky. From there you would use its effect, you would search out Indigo Eclipse, then you would use both of these monsters to link summon to your Morningstar. You would use Morningstar's effect, pitch the Indigo Eclipse you just searched to grab World Legacy Secret. You would then set the secret, and now on your opponent's turn, you can flip this up, revive your Indigo Eclipse, and from here you can time this accordingly. So say the opponent plays a monster, and attempts to use its effect, you can chain secrets, revive a Mech Knight in the opposite zone, and thus negating its effect. Should the opponent then play another monster in another zone, you can then use Indigo Eclipse's effect, move it to that same zone, and get a double negate. It's just a great way for controlling the board. Great if you've just set up your fusions and you want to restrict your opponent's plays. And this can also get back your construct, thus triggering its effect. And there are other applications as well. You can resummon your BLS, assuming you've properly summoned it, or Nibiru. So there's quite a few ways. And I just feel like this is the best way to play the deck going forward, because you get the most out of your light engine, and it doesn't conflict too much with the rest of the deck. It's quite a small engine. And yeah, hopefully we'll see Shaddolls doing some more things in the near future.
Definitely.
We do have the structure deck coming out, so
yeah, hopefully they get. I'm calling that we've got to get like some main deck Shaddoll monsters, like a light. Like that's the only thing that's missing is like the light version.
What I would really love is if we get a draw spell, which also triggers the Shaddoll effects. Just something like that. Just
ditch one, draw one, but not as cost, something like that.
But not so generic. It would have to be tailored for Shaddolls, because that's just charity all over again. But
discard one Shaddoll, draw one card, but no cost involved, something like that.
Something like that. It's just, I don't know, just something like that. But just so, because there are times when you just get a hand of Shaddoll monsters and you're forced to maybe just set the Hedgehog and pass, and this just allows you to get your plays going. And I don't really want to play Allure because you need these monsters. You need them for fusion.
You need to be able to bypass them.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that was Michael's Shaddoll deck. Obviously, we did try to make it as pure as possible, but it's nice to see a different kind of tech take with the Mech Knights. I suppose it gives it a different angle. It also gives you a bit more of a power play. And like Michael said, it's designed to go second. So you can set up you can break your opponent's board with the Super Poly, build your own board using the Shaddolls and the Mech Knights, and then set up a very, very powerful negate for your opponent's turn as well. So it gives you a 2-in-1 kind of break and rebuild if you haven't finished the game off. So it was definitely interesting to see how Shaddolls do in this format and what kind of external engines they use and abuse to get there. But anyway, for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling.
What's up YouTube, Dad here with War Games. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.